Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, bringing you the top national and international sports stories in the next half an hour. Let's begin with the headlines. Setback for Arunachal Congress. Chief Minister Pema Khandu, 43 other MLAs join People's Party of Arunachal. Congress puts the onus on BJP. BJP blames internal dissent in Congress for the turmoil. After days of feud, Samajwadi Party Chief Mulayam Singh enforces truce. Chief Minister Akhilesh reinstates Uncle Shivpal Prajapati as cabinet ministers. Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari arrives in Venezuela to attend the 17th NAM summit. India to raise concerns over terrorism at the summit. UN reforms, climate change and nuclear disarmament also on the agenda. Centre demands detailed report from Delhi government on deaths due to dengue and chikungunya. The two vector-borne diseases claim 30 lives in Delhi, 60 deaths reported countrywide. Delhi Lieutenant Governor Jung asks Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia to return from Finland as soon as possible. And Narsingh Yadav doping case referred to the CBI. The wrestler was banned for 4 years after the WADA moved the court of arbitration. Our top story this morning, Congress party is facing a severe political setback in Arunachal Pradesh yet again after all of its MLAs except one, including Chief Minister Pema Khandu, joined the People's Party of Arunachal Pradesh on Friday. Now, Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu said that the decision to join the PPA was conscious and unanimous, as joining the only regional party of the state was in the interest of the state and its people. Now, People's Party of Arunachal is an alliance partner of the BJP-led Northeast Democratic Alliance. Take a look.
In a shocker for the Congress party in Arunachal Pradesh, less than 2 months after he was sworn in, Chief Minister Pema Khandu walked out of the party fold along with 42 of his MLAs. Congress is now left with just one MLA, Nabam Tuki, Khandu's predecessor, who faced a rebellion last year. Khandu, who was made the Chief Minister as part of a compromise formula after the Supreme Court reinstated Tuki's government, has joined People's Party of Arunachal Pradesh, virtually turning the Congress government in the state to that of PPA. Congress has termed it as politics of blackmail.
अभी अरुणाचल ये ब्लैकमेलिंग पॉलिटिक्स हो रहा है बीजेपी का उनका ऊपर. ये अंडर प्रेशर जो बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट ने उनका ऊपर प्रेशर डाला है कि सारा सेंट्रल फंड बंद हो जाएगा, कोई डेवलपमेंट नहीं होगा, तो वही ब्लैकमेल के लिए वो लोग अभी कांग्रेस छोड़ के वो डायरेक्ट बीजेपी ज्वाइन नहीं किया है, अपना पार्टी बनाया है.
The BJP, however, has blamed internal dissent in the Congress for the political turmoil in the state.
The entire MLAs, ministers, led by the Chief Minister, they have gone to a regional party. They are this illusion with their own leadership. If their Chief Minister and their ministers have to wait for days to meet their own leadership in Delhi, how can they stay in such party? They are very emotional. They were saying that publicly also, that they don't want to remain in Congress party.
The Arunachal Pradesh Assembly's total strength is 60, out of which Congress has 47 MLAs, BJP has 11 and there were 2 independents. Status of 2 Congress MLAs is yet to be decided as they put in their papers before the recent political development that led to first the Tuki government falling in January 2016, imposition of president's rule in the state and then the installation of a government led by the late Kaliko Pul. Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Uttar Pradesh now, where SP Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav brokered peace between the warring factions in his family and party on Friday through a series of meetings with both the Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav and brother Shivpal Yadav. Now, it has been decided that Shivpal Yadav is going to be reinstated and handed over his 3 portfolios. The compromise formula also includes the reinstatement of Gayatri Prajapati, who was sacked by the Chief Minister. Now, speaking to the media after the decisions were finalized, Shivpal Yadav maintained that Akhilesh Yadav will remain the chief ministerial face of the party.
आज मैं कह रहा हूं पार्टी के अंदर हमारा किसी से मतभेद न, हमारे किसी नेता का, चाहे अध्यक्ष हो, चाहे रामपाल हो, कोई हो, कोई मतभेद नहीं।
Family patriarch and Samajwadi Party chief Mulayam Singh finally broke his silence over the internal rift in his family and the party. Mulayam tried to bring an end to the controversy by holding separate meetings with both his son and Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav and his brother Shivpal. In a bid to pacify Shivpal, Mulayam rejected his resignation as the party's state unit chief and announced the reinstatement of Gayatri Prajapati as minister. Shivpal's supporters gathered outside his residence in Lucknow, shouting slogans in his favour. Shivpal later told them that he is with Mulayam.
नेताजी की बात तो मानना है मुझे, और नेताजी जो भी फैसला करेंगे और कल करेंगे, बात सुन करके जो भी नेताजी फैसला करेंगे अब कल फैसले करते जा रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, in an interview to a private channel, Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav indicated that he felt bad when he was removed as the party's state unit chief, but wants to have a say in the ticket distribution for the forthcoming assembly elections. However, signalling rapprochement with his uncle Shivpal, he rejected the latest resignation from the Council of Ministers.
इसीलिए आपसे कह रहा हूं कि मैं नेताजी से मिलकर के आया हूं और मैंने नेताजी से कहा ही दूसरी बात ये कही है, और जो मैंने अपने आप फिर सोचा है, यही मैं कहा कि नेताजी आपको जो अच्छा लगे, जो जिसमें आपकी खुशी हुई, वो फैसला मैं लूंगा.
Mulayam had rushed to Lucknow from Delhi on Thursday evening after the public feud between Akhilesh and Shivpal deepened. Vishal Dahiya, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, news from down south. After a week-long unrest in Karnataka regarding the Kaveri water sharing issue, now Tamil Nadu and Puducherry also faced problems due to a day-long bandh. And the bandh was supported by the major opposition parties, DMK, Congress, MDMK, PMK, TMC and the left. Now, in the light of the bandh that was called, the security was tightened across the state.
A statewide bandh was called in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry on Friday over the Kaveri water sharing issue. The bandh call given by the traders and farmers is to protest against the violence targeting Tamils in Karnataka. The protesters are also demanding a long-term solution to the Kaveri water issue. Barring the ruling AIA-DMK party, all other major political parties extended their support to the bandh call. Top opposition leaders M.K. Stalin and Kanimuri of the DMK and MDMK's Vaiko were also taken into custody as they supported the shutdown over the Kaveri issue.
And we want the Kaveri issue resolved for once for all. Every time this becomes a problem, every time the farmers are affected, and the Supreme Court order should be carried out in full, and Tamils have to be protected in Karnataka.
பிரச்சனைகளுக்கு தீர்வு காண வேண்டும் என்பதனால்தான் திமுக அறிவிக்காமல் மாற்றார் அறிவிக்கின்ற போராட்டத்தில் கூட பெரும்பகுதியான இடத்தை திராவிட முன்னேற்றக் கழகம் இன்று ஆக்கிரமித்து போராட்டத்தை தொடர்கிறது.
The Tamil Nadu Farmers Association also staged a rail roko at Saidapet railway station in Chennai. They are demanding the Prime Minister's intervention into the matter. As a precautionary measure, educational institutions and other installations remained closed in Tamil Nadu. Companies of Rapid Action Force and paramilitary forces were deployed at the border to ensure there are no untoward incidents. Public transport stayed off the roads, causing inconvenience to daily commuters.
ना ही कहीं वायलेंस हुआ है, ना ही कहीं पे आतंक होने की किसी को ज़रूरत है. ये हमारा स्टेट बॉर्डर है, यहाँ पे काफ़ी एंट्री मतलब बहुत सारे प्राइवेट पब्लिक व्हीकल्स आते जाते रहते हैं सुबह से शाम तक, तो किसी तरह का यहाँ पे समस्या ना हो, इस कारण से यहाँ पे फोर्स ज़्यादा लगाया है हमने.
Protests were also held in Bengaluru, where members of the KRV were detained by police after they staged a protest. As a preventive measure, Section 144 has been extended in Bengaluru till September 25th midnight.
How to protect Tamilians here in Karnataka, and the same way this one Tamil Nadu has to protect the interest of Karnataka people over there. But it's but natural land, it's the law of the land, and it's our duty, the state's duty to protect this, and we are doing it, and we are committed to do so.
Kaveri water dispute sharing is an emotive issue, and owing to that, these issues had occurred. Now the point is that we have been able to control the situation. controls the situation effectively and quickly without any delay. And there is no cause for worry now.
Several Tamil outfits in Puducherry also called for a ban to condemn the violence against Tamils in Karnataka. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to news from the national capital, well, the centre has asked for a detailed report from the Delhi Health Ministry on the spiralling cases of chikungunya in the national capital. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung has asked the Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, Manish Sisodia, who is on a study tour in Finland, to return to Delhi immediately in the wake of sudden spur in dengue and chikungunya cases in the national capital. However, Delhi is not the only place facing a health crisis, as the entire country has now recorded more than 12,000 chikungunya cases so far this year. Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda and his Delhi counterpart Satyendra Jain met on Friday and reviewed the crisis arising out of the rise in the number of dengue and chikungunya cases in the national capital. Assuring all support from the centre, Nadda said that adequate number of fever clinics are operating in the central government hospitals and no patient is being turned away without treatment.
जो भी डेथ्स रिपोर्ट हुई हैं प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में या किसी अपने हॉस्पिटल में, सबकी केस हिस्ट्री मांगी जाए, सबकी डिटेल्स ली जाए, उसको एनालाइज किया जाए, उसकी रिपोर्ट हमको भेजी जाए ताकि हम एनालाइज कर सकें कि ये घटनाएं कैसे घटी हैं.
The number of fatalities due to chikungunya complications has risen to 13 in the national capital, while 18 people have died due to dengue. Over 3,000 patients are affected from the two vector-borne diseases. In the wake of chikungunya outbreak, the Delhi government has initiated the process for declaring it as a notifiable and dangerous disease.
केंद्र सरकार के जितने भी हॉस्पिटल दिल्ली के अंदर है, जैसे कि एम्स, सफदरजंग, आरएमएल और जितने भी अस्पताल हैं, लगभग 10,000 बेड हैं, तो उनसे मैंने रिक्वेस्ट की कम से कम सभी अस्पताल में फीवर और चिकनगुनिया डेंगू के लिए कम से कम 10% बेड रिजर्व किए जाएं, जिसको उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट किया है, क्योंकि दिल्ली के अंदर कैपेसिटी काफ़ी है सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की, और 10% बेड भी अगर देते हैं तो 1,000 से ऊपर बेड नए बन जाते हैं.
According to the National Vector-Borne Disease Control Programme, more than 12,000 cases of chikungunya have been reported across the country till 31st of August. While Karnataka has recorded 8,941 cases, Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh have seen 839 and 492 cases of the viral fever. Over 60 dengue deaths have been reported from the country so far this year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. On to some other news. Well, the Navy's latest destroyer to be named INS Mormugao on commissioning will be launched today in Mumbai. The 7,000 crore rupees warship made under Project 15B will have advanced stealth features and surface-to-air as well as cruise missiles, but is unlikely to have the crucial toward array sonar, an essential sensor to detect submarines. Now, this is the second ship of the Project 15B and is likely to be inducted into service by 2020. The first ship under P-15B was INS Vishakhapatnam that would be commissioned in 2018 and that was launched in April last year. Well, time to take a very short break. Up next, we'll have all the international and sports news. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome. I'm Amitan Rai.
They have introduced materiality provisions.
The whole concept of independent directors actually apply on listed companies.
The preferential shareholding was taken into consideration.
A show that gives you an in-depth insight of legislations and laws pronounced by the Supreme Court. Watch Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha television.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Ahmedabad today to attend a series of events being held to mark his 66th birthday today. The Prime Minister was accorded a grand welcome and felicitated by top BJP leaders at the airport yesterday night, including Governor O.P. Kohli and Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. Modi today visited his mother and family members in Gandhinagar and sought their blessings. Later in the day, Prime Minister Modi is scheduled to visit the tribal district of Dohar to inaugurate various projects. Now, this is Prime Minister's third visit in 2 months to Gujarat, where assembly elections are due next year. And Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari arrived at the Santiago Marino International Airport in Venezuelan island resort city Margarita to attend the 17th Non-Aligned Movement Summit. Now, he was received on arrival at the airport by the Executive Vice President of Venezuela. Later in the evening, the Vice President called on President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. The Vice President will join the official events at the summit from today. Also at the summit, Minister of State for External Affairs M.J. Akbar on Friday met Gulami Long, the Foreign Minister of Ecuador, on the sidelines of the event. Meanwhile, in related news, Pakistan scuttled an India-sponsored proposal on setting up of a working group on counter-terrorism during deliberations at the NAM summit in Venezuela. Now, according to a PTI report, as NAM diplomats strove to set up a working group on terrorism to coordinate their positions in international fora, the Pakistani representative at the summit, Tasneem Aslam, spoke against it and opposed the consensus that had built around the proposal. Now, sponsored by India, the proposal had the support of a large number of NAM delegations. And during the two-day meeting in Goa, the environment ministers of BRICS nations on Friday signed an MOU and also announced setting up of a joint working group institutionalizing their mutual cooperation on green issues. Now, addressing reporters after the meet, Union Environment Minister Anil Dave said that the BRICS nations have resolved to set up a platform for innovation, knowledge sharing and capacity building, including a common website and a network of technical institutions. The ministers also discussed thematic areas of mutual interest and prioritized actions for cooperation in areas like air and water pollution, liquid and solid waste management, climate change and conservation of biodiversity.
We have finalized memorandum of understanding and we have reached on some conclusion which are necessary for the future in the light of the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. We have agreed that each and every water body and each and every river of the country must be preserved properly so that the safe, clean, sweet drinking water should be available to the entire society. At present, what we find that our rivers are dying, our water bodies are not up to the mark, they are dying day by day. So we have all agreed that yes, we should work on this and we will formulate a group which can exchange their views.
On to some other news. Well, Nepalese Prime Minister Prachand, who is on a 4-day visit to India, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday. Now, both the sides held wide-ranging talks and signed 3 MOUs. Prime Minister Modi assured his Nepalese counterpart that India will stand by his country in all its developmental needs in the future. He also asked the new Nepalese Prime Minister to implement the commitments made to Madheshis under the new constitutional framework. Later, the visiting dignitary also called on President Pranab Mukherjee.
Nepalese Prime Minister Pushpakumar Dahal Prachanda held wide-ranging talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday on his maiden visit to India since taking over as head of the Himalayan kingdom. The two prime ministers then witnessed the signing of 3 MOUs between the two sides. The MOUs include construction of postal highways in Nepal's Tarai region, agreement on the first dollar credit line for post-earthquake reconstruction projects in Nepal, and extension of a fresh $750 million credit line to Nepal for post-earthquake reconstruction. Prime Minister Modi also reiterated India's commitment to strengthen development partnership with Nepal.
Trade, connectivity in all its dimensions, development projects and mutual investments are key pillars of our partnership with Nepal. India's initiatives are open sky, cross-border, power trade, transit routes, cross-border connectivity would directly benefit Nepal and help strengthen our economic partnership. Nepal and India are also closely working on a range of areas of economic engagement, including energy and water resources sectors.
Prime Minister Modi also commended Prachanda's efforts in strengthening democratic institutions in Nepal. He, however, urged him to bring internal peace to Nepal through inclusive dialogue, a clear hint to iron out differences with the Madhesi community.
We also commend the role that you have personally played in strengthening the democratic institutions in Nepal. You have been a catalytic force of peace in Nepal. I am confident that under your wise leadership, Nepal will successfully implement the Constitution through inclusive dialogue, accommodating the aspirations of all sections of diverse society.
You are aware that my government has made serious effort to bring everyone on the board as we enter the phase of implementation of the Constitution in the interest of all segments of Nepalese society.
The visiting dignitary also underlined the need of frequent high-level interactions between the neighbours, extending an invitation to both President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Modi to visit Nepal. He also extended Nepal's support to India's bid at the UN Security Council.
India is rising in its global stature and it has a visible mark in global arena as the largest successful world democracy. I assured Prime Minister Modi ji that Nepal fully supports India's aspiration for greater roles in international institutions.
Earlier in the day, the Nepalese Prime Minister was accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Seemingly, there is a change of heart in Nepal's politics, and if it continues so, there will be no hiccup in prosperity of Nepal and its relationship with India. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person D.K. Pandey in Delhi.
On to some international news now. At least 25 people have been killed in a suicide bombing claimed by a Taliban splinter group at a mosque in Pakistan. The blast struck as people gathered for Friday prayers in the village of Pai Khan in Mohammad Agency district. The suicide bomber allegedly screamed Allahu Akbar and detonated himself inside a packed mosque. Officials said that 30 others were injured and there were fears that the death toll could rise as rescue operations continued. The Pakistani Taliban faction Jamaat-ul-Ahrar claimed responsibility for the attack. The group said it was a revenge attack, accusing tribesmen in the area of launching an assault on its forces and of capturing militants and handing them over to the government. The Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has condemned the bombing. He said attacks by terrorists cannot shatter the government's resolve to eliminate terrorism from the country. News from the Middle East. Well, there are signs of growing tensions between the US and Russia over Syria 4 days after a ceasefire came into effect in the country. Now, Moscow warned it would resume airstrikes on moderate rebel groups unless Washington did more to distance themselves from extremists. In turn, the US voiced concern about delays in providing humanitarian aid to Aleppo and other besieged areas. On Friday, US Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov discussed the crisis in a telephone call. Now, Kerry warned Moscow that US-Russian joint military planning would not happen until humanitarian aid began to arrive. The United Nations says it is still waiting to be able to deliver aid to besieged Aleppo. Meanwhile, truce breaches by both Syrian troops and rebel groups have also been reported. Now, if the cessation holds for 7 days, the US and Russia have agreed to plan joint attacks on the Al-Nusra Front as well as the Islamic State. Let's get you some more international stories in World Wrap. India need not worry about the planned Russia-Pakistan joint military exercises as these drills will not be carried out in disputed areas, a senior Russian diplomat has said. The Russian Foreign Ministry's director of the South Asian Department has said that Moscow had informed New Delhi of the regions where the exercises with Pakistan were planned to take place. The joint military exercises, dubbed as Friendship 2016, are tactical drills which will be held from 24th of September onwards in the northern Pakistan's Ratu region and at a Special Forces Training Centre in Cherat area. The EU leaders say that they have come up with a roadmap of strategies for rebuilding public trust in the European Union after the shock of Britain's vote to leave. It was the EU's first major meeting as 27 without the UK present. Now, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said that the 27 had agreed to a day-long summit to use the next 6 months to develop a plan to reinvigorate the Union. However, among pledges of cooperation, arguments over how to handle an influx of refugees rumbled on. US First Lady Michelle Obama hit the campaign trail in support of Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton on Friday. At an event in Northern Virginia, Michelle Obama took a swipe at the so-called birther movement once led by Republican rival Donald Trump. Earlier in the day, Trump abandoned his assertion that Barack Obama was not born in the United States after spending years promoting conspiracy theories that the country's first African-American president started life as a foreigner. Close to 980 million litres of radioactive water have leaked into Florida's main underground source of drinking water. The officials say that the leak occurred after a huge sinkhole opened up under a phosphate fertilizer plant near Tampa. However, the phosphate company Mosaic said that the leak posed no risk to the public. It added that the contaminated water had not reached private supplies and the firm was recovering it using pumps. On to some sports news, and the Wrestling Federation of India on Friday referred the alleged dope case of wrestler Narsingh Yadav to CBI for a detailed probe. Now, the developments came after WFI President Brij Bhushan Charan Singh met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and requested him to forward Narsingh's case to the Central Bureau of Investigation for further probe. Narsingh was imposed a 4-year ban last month by the Court of Arbitration, which barred him from taking part in Olympic Games. Narsingh had, remember, tested positive for a banned substance ahead of the Games on 25th of June. The wrestler had alleged conspiracy against him, saying that either his food or drinks were spiked. However, failing to produce any real evidence regarding the sabotage theory, the grappler from Maharashtra was debarred from representing India at the Rio Games in the 74-kilogram freestyle wrestling category. And in tennis, in a Davis Cup World Group playoff, India lost their opening encounter against Spain on Friday in the first singles match. India's Ramkumar Ramanathan lost to Feliciano Lopez 6-4, 6-4, 3-6, 6-1 to give Spain a 1-0 lead. The Ramanathan was earlier scheduled to play 14-time Grand Slam champion Rafael Nadal before the Spaniard pulled out of the match due to a stomach bug. Now, India and Spain have locked horns thrice so far in the Davis Cup, with the European nation leading head-to-head record 2-1. The winners of the tie will advance to the World Group. India had beaten Korea 4-1 in the Asia-Oceania Group 1 second-round tie. Meanwhile, Leander Paes will pair up with Saket to face the French Open champions Feliciano Lopez and Marc Lopez in the national capital today. That's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for watching.